we can say here we are on the West African Medical Missions homepage. And so on the front page, we take a look at kind of our mission, and there's the donate and the application area. We've got our latest news over here. We want to take a look at our story, what we do, get involved. So who we are, so here we can see Mr. Gabriel and their story that's going on, and our structure. So you can see that WAMM is a 501c3. It's a board of directors and administrator, national chapters, and a management team. And there's also WAMM International, which has a similar structure, but also based largely on the Scholars and Young Scholars program.
For like our future people in Australia, you know, like Amjad and Musu have been now in YSSL for 3 years. Like they are now at the level where they can competently like manage like the stuff that you were doing. Not so much the data input, but managing like people out in the field doing a survey. You know, and that's like what Well Body Alliance and Soltis are looking to us for, is the fact that we have these like networks that we're establishing and strengthening, where they can start to look for it to source out technical and human resource support.
And so here's my thought of where we come in and where we add our value.
Yeah.
Is that we need to facilitate and prepare those individuals based off their experience, because that's great.
Yeah.
But ultimately those projects, that's Soltis is doing that. We've provided a piece of the machine, but they're the Henry Ford, and if we're just providing cogs, we need to be understanding how to make those cogs fit.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that we're just, I don't want to say whoring ourselves out, but like I think we need to give ourselves more credit, and by building a structured program and making sure that everyone can understand and that it's transparent, and sticking within that guideline is going to allow you to have a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
That I'll go back. I'll refer to STLF. That their mainstay is the Pay It Forward tour, which is a bus trip. That there's going to be multiple buses going out from different areas, and the thing that unites them is they're all doing service projects along the way, and they're doing reflection activities at night. They're not all necessarily doing the same activities. They're not doing the same volunteer projects. But having that framework that the expectation is that, you're all going to be, there's going to be 10 different buses, they're going to have 10 different experiences, but there's a framework that every day you're doing a service project, and every day you're doing maybe a fun activity, and you're doing a reflection activity at night. And so that allows, thinking about our program now, that every, 3 times a week you have a classroom-based experience, 1 time a week you have a gender club experience, and then maybe throughout the week then you're having reflection activities about how your progress is going. You're having, written, progress reports. And then, those things are all going to be different based on, if someone's working for Solti, someone's working on NetHips, it's going to be different, but we've put together this skeleton and it can be fleshed out in different ways. And by facilitating that experience, that's where our value, that's where we carve out our niche, rather than just being, the grunts for someone else's projects. That we can help and we can do that work, just like on a Pay It Forward tour with STLF, you can help the Red Cross when you go and volunteer with them, but ultimately that was an experience for your volunteers too.
Yeah.
For STLF, that they had that bonding experience, they understood what volunteerism is. So looking at ours, that by making NetHips a better thing, that's great, but ultimately we're trying to leverage that experience and make sure that our students understand and can capitalize and maximize that experience for themselves.
Yeah. Well, one thing, I think that we do need to kind of whore ourselves out though right now, because we're young.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you gotta be a whore with principles.
Yeah.
And, I think it's fine that we're working those organizations, but making sure that we can keep it on, keep things in our scope. It's fine, if they have a project that is distributing bed nets, we need to understand how does that tie in with WAMM? How can we make sure that our students are leveraging and are doing research and are preparing, methodology about that, rather than just doing it.
Yeah.
Rather than just going like, oh, we passed out all the bed nets, you can say, geez, what neighborhoods did we hit? How can we, look at the best coverage methodology? How can we look at, the places that don't have bed nets? That kind of thing. Those are the things that I think are really important and are critical to our mission, is that question asking and being aware of this bigger picture.
Well, and this just, there's, obviously you don't necessarily want to reinvent the wheel every time we do something. And there's, like the Rotary Club that we were talking about earlier, they're really what they come down to is they're a group of ethical businessmen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they started out as, is what they're there for. And so they have a litmus test that they give every transaction that they're in their daily lives, is they say, how are they benefiting from this? How am I benefiting from this? And is the world a better place because this deal happened? And if you ask yourself those three questions on every deal, and the answer is positive, then it's a good deal. The answer is negative for anyone's side, then it's a bad deal. And I think that if we can just come up with some basic litmus test for our own projects, then I think that will definitely be pointed in the right direction. And I'm going to have a huge disagreement with the statement you just made about how we have to whore ourselves out because we're new.
Yeah, well, I was speaking in context to, like, the stuff Nick was
Sure.
talking about. So for us to, like, if we want to start doing, like, let's say USAID contracts in the next 3 to 5 years, we have to have a reference background that says we, know the methodology, we have experience in it, and we know what we're doing. And the only way that we can get that is by working with people who already have NIH and USAID contracts.
Okay.
So
I don't think that's whoring ourselves out. Then that's right.
What I'm saying is that nobody would know Henry Ford's name if he decided to build cars for 2 years and then go on to make coffee makers.
Yeah.
We need to be focused on what we do because that's our job. We can only control what's under our control.
Yeah, and I guess, like, that's how I meant whoring, is, like, by us going and working with Soltis and not actually getting all the funding money that they've gotten for this grant, but that we're sitting in there and we're like, we have somebody who's going to come here and, like, work on all these numbers for you. We've got 3 other people who are going to sit here and manage all this. Like, sure, we could be getting compensated for this in the future, but right now we're doing it for free because we need this experience. So
I don't have anything to spend the money on anyway. Screw it.
Well, and I don't think by doing that for free. I think when I was saying whoring out, I was saying that we do things that don't fall within our mission, or we sacrifice our mission just to appease or please someone else.
yeah,
I think as soon as we forget about trying to improve students as researchers, by improving methodology, by opening eyes to questions, and addressing barriers to health around you, if we're not doing those things, then I would be upset, and I would say that we are watering down our product and we're getting away from what we're good at.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and so, like, to finish, because you were talking about the Rotary Club and this litmus test, like, we keep bouncing back to, like, this one thing on our agenda for the night that we haven't done yet, is, like, talking about all these projects that are going on. Yeah. And, like, that why, how, what thing was my attempt to just create a simple, homogeneous fabric that we can all start figuring out how these projects are going on, why they're happening, and what the outcomes are. Because this is definitely where I want the board to be at, is, like, you guys each have your specialties, you've got, like, IT stuff, Nick's medical, you've got gender programming, and so you have this group of projects that are presented to you by people, and then you guys, like, it's not just you saying, no, this doesn't fit, but you can present the projects and we can all sit here collaboratively and say, is this something that needs going on? Is this or is this not happening? This is your chance to defend, who's ever in charge of this project, what's happening. So we can sit there and say, like, it didn't meet the criteria, it's finished. So it's not like someone on the ground is saying, like, what the hell, somebody so-and-so up there doesn't like me, they know I'm on this project and they're just trying to stonewall me. But you can say, well, they're looking at this is, like, what we're using, and is this being met? No, then there's no movement. So
I like the why, how, what. I mean, to a certain extent, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think, just personally, and I think it happens a lot of times just organically, but I think you gotta throw the what out front too. It's like, what is it? I mean, like, what, you know, like,
Yeah,
gender
well,
club.
Because this whole thing was like,
Why
it's
are we
based
doing
on like the Google and the Apple marketing platform where they say first to talk about why, then talk about how,
Okay,
and then
sure.
talk about what.
I gotcha.
So I was trying to like do something that's not.
From that video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's something where we can all like start from. Because once again, these are all just things that, you know, like for us to talk about them, I have to propose an idea on what they need to be, and then we sit here and figure out what we're going to do.
No, and I just come
So-
at it again, you know, from my area of expertise, medicine, that I use a SOAP note on a day-to-day basis, which is the subjective, you know, what objective, the assessment, and the plan. You know, and the subjective is like, what does the patient tell you?
I've never used soap before.
I use soap at WIC. for
Yeah,
nutrition.
so that's
Subjective, objective,
yeah, assessment and plan.
yeah.
And so that's, you know, that's the medical, you know, means of communicating. You know, subjective is, you know, I've got a, you know, like when I'm on OB-GYN, I say, you know, oh, it's a 33-year-old woman who comes in and she's a, you know, a G4P1013, which, you know, that carries the information about the pregnancy she's had. And right now, in this pregnancy, she's at...
Is that similar to like getting crunk on a G6?
No, so it's a number of pregnancies. And so, like, within that, that's just, like, carrying that information about what's going on in the front end. And the objective is, like, that's your vitals, that's your labs. So that's the kind of the stuff that's the concrete stuff. And the assessment is, that's where you're kind of making that merger you're saying. So I've got is, you know, this pregnant woman who's now at 36 weeks. She's having contractions. I think it is early onset of labor.
Yeah.
And then the plan is, you know, what we're going to do, we're going to give her some of these medicines to try to stop the labor. So we can get her to, yeah.
Push the baby back in.
Seriously, I saw that on Quantum Leap. That was actually developed in the 60s. And if somebody went into labor early, you got them drunk. And then the labor would stop because they were drunk and couldn't deliver.
Great for
Or
the
kill the
fetus.
baby.
So, well, and I think, like,
So
honestly,
I'm
right
saying
now,
that's
yeah.
not important.
No, Scott Bakula. He taught me
Scott
everything I needed
Yeah.
to know.
So, and like, there's no way that anybody's gonna sit here sanely or happily if we go through the 18 minutes of video we were each gonna talk about. But I think what we can do and walk away with right now is figuring out what we want to start this litmus test as, and then go back and relook at these videos, and then wait for the new ones to come out.
I actually want to watch more than what I did watch.
Well, and that
I've
was the thing
watched
was that I gave you
everything.
each something that I knew you guys could watch and come here prepared with, but not something that, here, watch 1 hour of video and come up with like 3 pages of documents.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's what we can do now, is develop this litmus test
Well,
and go forward.
Well, my favorite part about this, I guess before we jump into that, my favorite part about this was that it kind of expanded on what we discussed at the last meeting when we went through that timeline. But
In a
speaking
dialogue.
as the one guy who hasn't been to Africa, there is a giant hole in the amount of information that I have and kind of how it all
How
really
can we
fits
change
together.
that? How can we get you there?
I would love to go.
I mean, what? I mean, like I'm half joking, but I'm real serious.
No,
too.
I
Like,
planned.
when-
I was going to go last summer,
when-
but
when can we do
unfortunately,
it?
I just had too many other travel arrangements in place, and
When's
so-
gonna be slow? Should we look at May?
I got 6 weeks of vacation at work right now.
Okay.
I can go this year.
Let's do
Good.
it. I've got a couple weeks coming up in
Let's do it.
March. I've got
Well, that'd
May.
be a great like alumni like consultancy role for you to fill out
Yeah.
internationally. Because the thing is, what we noticed this year too is that we really don't have time for people to come visit. Like, cause there's so much that's going on every day, and like the processing it takes when someone gets off the plane and they're in Sierra Leone to get them to where you are like, okay, I woke up and left you at home today, and like I feel okay about that, is roughly 5 to 7 days. Like I call all our volunteers when they arrive for the first week clinically insane. Like I don't really listen to them. I baby them because they have no idea what's going on. So like if you were to come out, I think it'd be super beneficial to have it be with Nick or something, where he can like be working with you independently, bring you out to Kono, bring you to Kenema, you know, and it's not like,
I agree.
yeah, because we're really short staffed over there with like skilled
Yeah, I mean,
workers right now.
It could honestly be anybody that has been there in the past
Exactly.
and is not operationally needed.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
mean,
that would
it's
be,
kind of. I mean, if nothing else, we can call it a fact-finding tour.
yeah.
You know, I mean.
Yeah, because I think last year we sort of saw that like I mean, I'm just glad that he, you know, is a Marine, you know, who was trained, you know, was a trainer in Iraq, and he and his fiance went over there last year, and, you know, he's like, yeah, like, we had a great time, but, like, logistically, it was a nightmare, you know, like, yeah, you know, Frank, you know, was supposed to be the guy, and instead they're
well,
met
in
by
Frank's
Simon,
defense,
yeah.
though, he only
No,
had 2 days of heads up that this guy was coming and didn't know what he was supposed to do.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things,
Yeah.
but just to say, yeah, to have someone go in out of the blue
Yeah.
is difficult.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah, I
easy
mean, obviously
to
there's
drop it.
there's logistics to deal with, of course, and the last thing you want is some guy who's only going to be there for 2 weeks to be a burden on what's going on.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason I didn't go is because
Yeah.
we had no line of communication.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been effective.
I got 3 a.m. texts from him like constantly.
yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to get on a plane and get out there. I mean, if for no other reason than I just need a break from America, man.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder if that's something too that we can think about for future people, like who want to go on their 3rd time or their 2nd time, like how they can still be like given support of WAMM or affiliation, but not have to sit there and front end process them. Like, let's say Gibson wanted to go next year for like 3 weeks, and we have somebody like Pat or someone else who's really interested and wants to go, linking them up and
Yeah, they're the liaison.
yeah. So
Yeah, Gibson can hold my hand the whole time.
he'd love to. So yeah, litmus tests.
So
like
sweet.
how are we going to like gauge and monitor these projects?
What do you think the litmus test should be?
I think it should be. I really don't think it should be too complicated.
I'm thinking like 1 or 2 questions is all we need to ask.
Yeah. Well, what are those questions?
Well, I think it's gonna be driven. Yeah, I mean,
And
like,
because Nick and Jen, because you've been there and you know how like there is this huge loss in translation, P2, from when you're in Sierra Leone to when you're here and you're talking about the importance of something. Like, because you can say we went over there and like did something for a day,
super weird.
and over
yeah.
here people are like, what the fuck does that matter? And then over there they'll talk about it for a year.
Yeah.
Is that being like a crucial point in their
Oh, and
progression?
that's something that we'll have to work on since we're in an odd area. Yeah, it's really hard trying to write about what my experience was and making it representative of the impact and the effect you had. I mean, so much of it's intangible, and like that'll be our continued task, is figuring out ways to quantify that and to show in some sort of a way that we did something. Because yeah, it feels weird like when I write, it's just like God, really, God, it's like shit.
So maybe we shouldn't be the ones to make the litmus test.
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't
that should be given to the scholars to at least like come up with a draft or something.
of
like,
what?
of whether or not they think the programs
Okay.
are worthwhile.
And see, that's I mean,
Or that suit the mission or whatever you
I
want.
guess I would agree with that in the extent that maybe it's our job then to have programming and create this skeleton that I was talking about earlier, so that we can pull a project in and it can match, that we can take these
Yeah.
cogs, and put them into our Model T.
Yeah. When I think like going off people, partners in praxis, like how many people are being impacted, are we partnering with people? Because like it's
Yeah.
stupid for us to go out and do something all by ourselves since there's a million people trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
And like what is the actual project? And then I guess there's also financial things. Like that's something simple. Is this project draining money or making money? But then
Yeah.
if it's an
Well,
investment, like how do you...
What?
Because if you're saying, everything's binary and it either is or isn't, and if it doesn't meet all the is's, then it isn't.
I think that there's a whole lot of gray though.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to necessarily make it entirely black and white. I mean, I guess I just refer back to that the litmus test we were talking about with the Rotary Club is, are they going to be better off because of this? Are we going to be better off because of this? And is the world going to be a better place because of it? And these don't have to be big jumps. I mean, for a $1 transaction, then you're still not talking about a whole, a massive impact that decision is making. So I guess something fairly abstract is almost the way to go with it, I think, is that, is this related to medicine?
Yeah.
Is this related to empowerment? And does this, I don't know, move the people we're here to help forward in some way, empower somebody? I mean, and these are top of my head, so they're probably very poorly worded, but
I like the movement of where you're going here.
I mean, just something that says, are we doing this right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, or does it fall under our existing mission structure?
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of the questions.
Why don't you just, is it within your mission statement, does it fit your mission statement, is it in the scope of your vision, and is it like a financially sound decision? Like, and you already
Love
got
it.
the baseline.
Done. Sold.
Well, no, I don't know, I'm just throwing shit up, I mean, you got the framework, just.
That's better notes, yeah, that's perfect.
Mission statement, vision statement.
But your mission statement needs to be like, straight to the point then, like I haven't read it for a while, but.
Yeah.
It is
It's
pretty
straight to the point, like
now.
McDonald's is, we're gonna make the cheapest, best hamburger for fucking fast. Like that's what they do, cheap, good, fast.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything about getting them fat, whatever, leave that shit up, just leave it to the point.
Yeah. Well.
Speaking of McDonald's,
I know, it's out on
I keep having to not reach.
Need something else?
The apricots are over here.
Oh man.
Those will plug you up. We're cleaning out and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you why I was running late tonight then.
I'm gonna say I'll get you some prunes if you need it.
That's the last thing I need right now.
So
a weekend of pond hockey food in me. I'm still recovering. But yeah, I mean, that seems to be the way to go though. I mean,
But, or you could have someone from an outside read your vision and mission statement and come with like a set of specific answers that fucking answer the, how can I say it, like.
Let's measure the value of these things.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Pat, do you think our mission statement reflects our activities at current?
by and large, yes. I think there are exceptions.
Okay, and so what are those exceptions?
where's the mission statement at? Is it on our homepage?
Yeah, it's on what we do, I think.
Yeah, if you want to say it again for everybody? I know you can you get instant recall.
To strengthen existing health capacities of West Africa through education, community empowerment, and civic engagement.
So then there are your questions, fucking, does it
Educate.
provide education? Does it better the community? Does it give them empowerment? Civic engagement? Bam, all of them. Alright, next. Does it fit your vision? Do you have a vision statement or no?
Yeah.
Damn, it's a long ass vision statement. They're not supposed to be that long.
Well, this is the one that Mary Stopes uses in Aberdeen Women's Center. It's like that. So I was looking at their two packets and then kind of, yeah.
You can come up with your own.
Well, I could, but I have to have somewhere to start with.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Man, you gotta learn how to use this CMS. Let me fix this page.
Which?
CMS, what's that?
The content management system.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that we
we
talked about, but we gotta set up a time where myself, Phil, and Tony can come in and get some hardcore Nick.
Well, maybe, and that's why we were talking actually about that. Explain everything, to do, so that you could, if you were explaining to us, just do that right then, so that if Tony, Gabe, Phil, myself all die after seeing that, somebody in posterity could oh.
Yeah, well, you guys can always call work and they'll train you. I mean, that's not, out of the realm of possibility. You are a client.
Yeah.
But here, I'm just fixing this just because I find this offensive.
What is it?
You gotta learn paste as plain text.
Yeah, that's part of the problem of going through all these different computers and
No, I hear you. Yep, let me,
Do you guys mind if I dip out early?
No, if you guys gotta take off, go for it.
Just have a headache.
Uh-oh. Do you need anything right now? Come on.
No, it's fine. It's a migraine. I can feel it coming.
You want to try to beat it down with an ibuprofen on the front end?
That won't help.
Okay.
Where's my purse over there?
Mhm.
I take Sumatropin for it.
Ooh.
I just get like really like little vision things and it's like
Oh,
really freaking me out.
fortifications, yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
Imitrex
It's your
is
keys.
blast when you don't have a migraine.
You're not driving the car?
Yeah.
Well, no, I
Makes
thought you
your head
guys,
go like-
because I don't think I'm gonna leave till Friday.
Oh, cause
Because then I can just give it to you now and. Yeah.
What's up?
yeah, cause I just came here to pick her up because she was not feeling well. And I thought you were gonna give her a ride back, but.
Okay. Well, I can also.
Or, do you have everything out of there, or?
Yep. Yeah, because I can also bring it like tomorrow or Thursday or something too.
Are you going to Eau Claire?
On Friday,
Oh.
not on Thursday. So.